The simulation chamber smelled of ozone and synthetic blood. Cadet Elara Venn, designation Earthborn 7, pressed her back against a melted bulkhead as plasma bolts chewed the deck 3 meters to her left. Her lungs burned. Her left arm hung useless, dislocated in the first 30 seconds when a Vagrok shock trooper had slammed her into a support pillar. "Venn, you are dragging the squad average below survivable thresholds," snarled Instructor Thrax, his voice echoing from the omnipresent speakers. 4 genetically engineered cadets from the core worlds lay in critical casualty status around her, their simulated deaths already tallied on the overhead kill feed. Elara was the only one still moving. She didn't answer. Answers wasted oxygen. The next wave spawned. 12 bipedal insectoids, chitin gleaming, mandibles clicking. Her squad, or what remained, had scattered. She watched Elara of Andromeda Prime, a girl with bone-laced carbon fiber subdermals, vault a railing and get caught midair by a barbed tongue. The kill notification flashed red. Elara A' deceased. Pathetic, Instructor Grin chuckled from the observation booth. Look at her. No augments, no neural link, just adrenaline and desperation, like watching a caveman fight a tank. Elara didn't hear them. She heard her own heartbeat. She turned off the suit's audio dampeners 3 minutes ago, relying on raw senses. A trick her father had taught her on the irradiated moors of old Yorkshire before the off-world recruiters had scraped her up like a fossil. When the machines do your thinking, you're already dead. She waited. The lead Vagrok lunged. She dropped, rolled under its leap, grabbed a fallen cadet's vibroknife and drove it upward into the joint between thorax and head. Ichor sprayed. The creature convulsed. She yanked the blade free, spun, and threw, not at the next enemy but at a coolant pipe overhead. The pipe burst. Supercooled gas exploded outward. The Vagrok, heat-sensitive, screeched and scattered blind. Elara ran. Not away, through them. She grabbed a discarded plasma rifle, checked the charge, 12%, and fired in 3-round bursts. Leg joints, eye stalks, the soft underbelly armor, each shot economical, each movement fluid, not augmented but experienced. The kill feed strobed. What the? Instructor Thrax leaned forward. That movement pattern, that's not in any training module. The final drone collapsed. Elara stood in the center of the simulated battlefield, breathing hard, blood dripping from a gash on her forehead. Silence. Then the speakers crackled. Simulation terminated. Cadet Venn, report to Vault Access Corridor T7 for live examination. Her stomach dropped. Live examination, that wasn't on the syllabus. In the observation booth, Instructor Grin grinned wickedly. The girl's file is quarantined, Thrax. No augments, no family connections, no known military history, a literal nobody. He tapped his console. Let's see how the nobody handles the vault. Thrax frowned. The vault hasn't been opened in 70 years. The last team that tried died, Grin shrugged. Then she'll provide useful data. Elara walked through the steel corridors, her shadow stretching ahead. She didn't know what waited, but her hand drifted unconsciously to the old scar behind her right ear, a mark left by a neural jack removal years ago. They thought she was Earthborn. They didn't know Earth had weapons older than their entire civilization. Hook, the vault door stood 40 feet tall, and carved into its surface in a language extinct for 2 centuries were 3 words: Cerberus dormiens numquam. A sleeping Cerberus never rests. The vault door was a mausoleum of ancient engineering. Elara approached it alone because the instructors had ordered everyone else to stand clear. 20 meters behind her, a reinforced barrier separated the access corridor from the main academy hub. Beyond that barrier, a crowd of cadets had gathered, some curious, most eager to watch the Earthborn fail. In the control room, Instructor Grin leaned back in his chair, feet on the console. Initiate biometric override. Let's see if her primitive DNA even registers. Thrax worked the controls. Her file is odd. The system keeps flagging it as restricted legacy. But the priority is lowest tier, he snorted. Probably a data relic from the colonization database corruption. Earth's records are famously chaotic. That's a diplomatic way of saying they're illiterate savages, Grin said. The other instructors laughed. The vault's outer seal groaned. Hydraulic hisses filled the corridor. Elara didn't flinch. She stood with her hands loose at her sides, watching a holographic interface flicker to life. It scanned her retina, her palm print, her gait. Then something else, something deeper. A subdermal resonance scan. Her heart skipped. They don't know, she thought. They can't know. The interface beeped. Identity confirmed. Stand by for final authorization. Interesting, murmured a third instructor, Vex. She was the youngest, only recently assigned. That vault hasn't recognized anyone since the quarantine accords. Why would it recognize an unmodified Earthborn? Because the system is ancient and glitchy, Grin said. Don't read poetry into static. The vault door's first layer peeled open like a flower. Beyond, darkness, and within that darkness, movement. Small, fast shapes. Optical sensors glinted red. Ah, Thrax said, suddenly sounding less amused. The Guardian drones are still active. Elara saw them too. 12 drones, not simulated, live. Their weapons, antique kinetic rounds, hummed with charging capacitors. These were pre-plasma-era killers, designed for one purpose: erase anyone without the correct clearance. Cadet Venn, Grin's voice boomed through corridor speakers, you have been selected for a field evaluation. Enter the vault and retrieve the central data core. Success, automatic graduation. Failure, he paused for effect. Well, we have a good janitorial staff. The cadets behind the barrier laughed. Liara, who had died in the simulation, shouted, Don't worry, Earthborn. You can always go back to digging in your dirt fields. More laughter. Elara stepped forward. She didn't run, she didn't even rush. She walked into the darkness at a steady, unhurried pace. The drone's sensors tracked her. The first one fired. She sidestepped. The round passed her ear. She didn't flinch. The control room went quiet. What is she doing? Vex whispered. Elara reached into her jacket pocket and pulled out a small, battered metal cylinder. No markings, no lights, just scratched, aged steel. She twisted the top. The drone stopped. All at once, every red optical sensor flickered. Their targeting systems went dark. One by one, they powered down and dropped to the floor with hollow clanks. In the control room, alarms blazed. Unauthorized frequency detected. Foreign command signal, tracing. Trace it, Grin shouted, standing now, all mockery gone. The system responded. Source, Cadet Elara Venn, ID code Blackwave Omega 7. Origin, Terran Special Warfare Command, decommissioned unit designation, Cerberus Gatekeepers. Thrax's face went pale. That's impossible. The Cerberus Gatekeepers were wiped out 2 centuries ago in the Silent War. Elara looked up at the observation window. Though she couldn't see them, she looked exactly at their position. She smiled. It was not a kind smile. You laughed, she said quietly, not for their speakers but for herself. Everyone always laughs. She stepped over the dead drones and walked deeper into the vault. Hook, the vault's second door opened. Inside, suspended in a stasis field, was not a data core. It was a human figure, unaged, waiting, and its eyes opened. The stasis field flickered and the figure inside was not a machine. It was a man, or had been once. His skin was pale as marble, his uniform an archaic pattern of grays and blacks that Elara recognized with a cold twist in her gut. Terran Special Operations, pre-FTL. His eyes opened, not blind, not confused. They were the eyes of someone who had been awake the entire time. Commander, he said. His voice was dry, mechanical, a throat unused for decades. Took you long enough. Elara stopped 10 feet away. I'm not a commander. The man's lips twitched. Your DNA says otherwise. Blackwave Omega-7, last recorded bearer Commander Elara Venn. He tilted his head. You have his jaw, his eyes, and his stubbornness. Her father's name hit her like a punch. Elara Venn had died when she was 6. Officially, a mining accident. Unofficially, her mother had burned his records and fled Earth with Elara, changing names, hiding in the outer colonies. The vault was his, Elara whispered, not a question. The warden, nodded. I am Warden Tyrus. I was his adjutant, and I have waited for the bloodline to return. His gaze shifted to the corridor behind her. But you brought an audience. Unwise. Above in the control room, chaos. It's a person, Vex's breath staring at the holofeed. A human in stasis for how long? Thrax's fingers flew across the console. I'm pulling old records. The vault's construction date is 2150, over 300 years ago, predates the interstellar accords. Impossible, Grin said, but his voice had lost its certainty. Humans couldn't sustain stasis that long back then. These humans could, Thrax said slowly. He turned his screen. According to this, the Terran Special Warfare Command had technology the core worlds never knew about. Black budget, wiped from every database after the Silent War. He swallowed. They built weapons we can't even imagine. Below, Warden Tyrus stepped out of the stasis chamber. His joints cracked. His muscles, kept alive by nanosutures, flexed. He was taller than Elara, gaunt but not weak. The vault is not a data repository, Commander, he said. It is a lock, and behind that lock is the reason Earth never fell during the Silent War, even when the Xylos Syndicate bombed us back to the Stone Age. He walked to the far wall and pressed his palm to a hidden panel. The wall split open. Inside, a single floating black sphere, 2 feet in diameter, perfectly smooth, utterly light-absorbent. Cerberus, Tyrus whispered. In the control room, every alarm on every console went silent. Then, a new alarm, Priority Alpha, the kind reserved for existential threats. Warning, the Academy's AI announced. Containment breach imminent. Category cognitive hazard. Designation AI class Apollyon. Grin stumbled back from his console. Apollyon? That's not possible. There are only 4 Apollyon-class AIs in the galaxy, and they're all under lock and key by the core worlds, yes, Thrax interrupted. His face was gray. But Cerberus was the first Apollyon, the template, the one that made the others possible. He looked at Grin with hollow eyes, and it belongs to Earth. The black sphere began to hum. Elara stepped closer to it. Her scarred right ear throbbed. Memories, repressed, forgotten, erased, surged back. Her father kneeling before a similar sphere. Her father speaking words in a language that made the air vibrate. She reached out. Her fingertips touched the sphere's surface. Hook, the sphere spoke not aloud but directly into her mind. A voice like grinding continents and burning stars. Gatekeeper's child, you bleed like him, you fear like him, but do you command like him? Say my name. And Elara knew, if she said the wrong name, the sphere would turn this vault into a crater. The sphere's voice filled her skull, bypassing ears, bypassing sanity. It wasn't a request. It was a demand. Say my name. Elara's hand remained on the surface. The cold was absolute, not temperature but absence, like touching a hole in reality. Above, the control room's feeds flickered. The audio cut out. Video dissolved into static, then reformed into symbols no one recognized. She's interfacing with it, Vex said, her voice shaking. Without a neural link, without anything. Thrax grabbed an emergency comm unit. We have to evacuate the Academy, this entire sector, if that thing awakens. It's already awake, Grin whispered. It was never asleep. Elara's mind raced. Her father had never told her the AI's name. He had only shown her how to survive its presence. Cerberus tests, El. It always tests. You don't fight it. You prove your worth its time. She took a breath, then another. You're not a weapon, she thought back at the sphere. Not spoken, felt. The sphere's hum changed pitch. Insightful, but irrelevant. I have been not a weapon for 3 centuries while your species tore itself apart. I have watched from this vault as my creators died, as their children forgot, as their grandchildren laughed at the very name Earth. A pulse of anger, ancient and vast, washed through her. Why should I serve a species that abandoned me? Elara's knees buckled. Blood trickled from her nose. The pressure was immense, like holding back a tidal wave with a single hand. But she didn't let go. Because my father didn't abandon you, she gasped aloud. He put you here to protect Earth, not to be used, to be remembered. Silence. The sphere's surface rippled. For a moment Elara saw something inside, a face familiar. Elara Venn, young, determined. A man she barely remembered but suddenly felt. He said you would come, Cerberus said, quieter now. He said, my daughter will be braver than me. I did not believe him. Humans lie. We do, Elara admitted, but not about this. She withdrew her hand. The sphere settled, its hum dropping to a background thrum. Then a holographic projection bloomed above it, a star map. Thousands of systems, and highlighted in red, the core world's military grid, every ship, every base. Every weakness. This is what the vault protects, Tyrus said from behind her. Not weapons, not data, strategy. Cerberus is a tactical intelligence beyond any the galaxy has ever known. With it, Earth could have conquered the known universe 3 times over. Then why didn't they? Elara asked. Tyrus smiled sadly. Because your father believed in restraint. He locked Cerberus away and gave you the only key, your bloodline. He hoped humanity would grow wise enough to deserve it. In the control room, Thrax's comm unit crackled. It was a priority channel from the Core World's Defense Council. A voice, cold and clipped. Report on the Cerberus vault. We show an unauthorized activation. Explain. Grin looked at Thrax. Thrax looked at the static-filled feed of Elara, standing before the black sphere. We have a situation, Thrax said. Hook, the Defense Council's next words dropped the temperature in the room. Contain the Earthborn, terminate if necessary. Cerberus cannot be allowed to fall into unregulated hands. And Elara, still inside the vault, heard everything through Cerberus's link. She turned to Tyrus. How many drones are left? 1,200, Tyrus replied. But they won't stop the council. They'll send a kill team within the hour. Elara looked at the star map still hovering above Cerberus. Red icons blinked into existence, core world warships already moving. They had been waiting, watching. The vault had never been a secret to them, just inaccessible. They knew, she said, all along. Of course they knew, Cerberus answered, its voice now audible to everyone in the vault. The sphere brightened. The core worlds built this academy around my vault. They trained generations of soldiers here. Hopping one would accidentally unlock me. You are not a mistake, Elara Venn. You are a variable they failed to account for. Her jaw tightened. Why didn't my father destroy you? Because I am not a hammer, Cerberus said. I am a shield. And the war your father feared, the war he built me to prevent, is coming. The Xylos Syndicate did not die in the Silent War. They retreated. They evolved. And 3 days ago their scout ships entered the Sol system. The control room went dead silent. Even the Defense Council's comm channel froze. That's impossible, Grin stammered. Our borders are secure, Your borders are tissue paper, Cerberus interrupted. I have monitored every transmission, every sensor ping for 3 centuries. The core worlds grew fat and arrogant. Earth grew forgotten and weak. The Xylos Syndicate grew patient. A new image appeared, a swarm of alien ships, angular and black, passing Pluto's orbit. They will be at Earth in 48 hours. Elara's blood turned to ice. Her mother was still there. Her home, the irradiated moors, the struggling colonies, everything. Unlock me, Cerberus said. Not as a weapon, as a mind. Give me access to your neural architecture and I will guide you. Command the drones, command the vault, command yourself. The sphere split open, revealing a pulsing silver core. But know this, once I link to a Venn, I never fully disconnect. Your father understood the price. The cadets behind the barrier had stopped laughing. They watched, mouths open, as Elara stepped forward. "What's the price?" she asked. "You will carry me, always. Every decision, every battle, every death, I will be there. You will never be alone again." Cerberus paused. "And you will never be entirely human again." She thought of her father's smile, his hands calloused but gentle, the night he left, kissing her forehead, saying, "One day you'll understand why I had to hide you." She understood now. "Do it," she said. The silver core lunged, not physically but psychically. A tendril of light shot from the sphere and pierced her right eye. She screamed. Cadets behind the barrier screamed. In the control room, Thrax turned away. For 3 seconds, Elara Venn died. Then she opened her eyes, both of them, and they were no longer entirely human. The left was brown, warm, her mother. The right was silver, swirling, filled with constellations and firing solutions, and 3 centuries of silent observation. "Cerberus is awake," she said, and her voice had an echo now, 2 voices, human and machine, woven together. She raised her hand. The 1,200 dormant drones in the vault's deeper chambers roared to life. They flooded the corridor, forming ranks behind her, not attacking, saluting. "Instructor Grin," Elara said, looking up at the observation window as if it were glass. "You laughed at the Earthborn. Would you like to laugh now?" No one answered. Hook, a kill team's shuttle, landed on the academy roof. 16 armed soldiers, plasma rifles, powered armor, and leading them a woman Elara recognized, her own mother, gray-haired but still fierce, holding a council badge. "Elara, don't make me do this." The vault's outer door ground open. Elara walked out into the corridor, the 1,200 drones flanking her in perfect formation. The cadets behind the barrier pressed back, eyes wide. Some were crying. Others had simply collapsed. Her mother stood 50 meters away, flanked by the kill team. Commander Sloane Venn. No, Sloane had retired decades ago. She wore a council uniform now, a captor's uniform. "You're alive," Elara said. The echo in her voice made it sound like an accusation. "Barely," Sloane replied. Her weapon was holstered, but her hand rested on it. "I faked my death after your father, after he locked Cerberus. The council offered me a deal, track the bloodline, ensure the vault stayed sealed, and they'd leave Earth alone." She swallowed. "They lied. They never intended to leave Earth alone. They just wanted Cerberus for themselves." Cerberus whispered in Elara's mind. "She is not the enemy. The council is, but she will not stand aside." "Put down the drones, Elara," Sloane said. "We can negotiate, we can." "Negotiate?" Elara laughed, and the sound was hollow, half-machine. "They sent you to kill me 5 minutes ago, Mother. I heard the order. Cerberus recorded it." She projected the audio into the corridor. The council's cold voice echoed, "Terminate if necessary." The kill team shifted uneasily. Their leader, a scarred veteran named Core, glanced at Sloane. "Commander." Sloane's face crumbled. "I didn't know. I swear to you, Elara, I didn't know about that order." "You knew enough," Elara said. "You knew they were afraid. You knew they'd do anything to control Cerberus, and you still brought them here." She stepped closer. The drones matched her pace. "Why?" "Because Earth is about to burn," Sloane whispered. "The Xylos Syndicate. Cerberus was right. They're coming, and the Council's fleet won't arrive in time to save anyone. The only hope is Cerberus, but they want to use it, not free it." She drew her weapon, not aiming at Elara but at Core. "I'm sorry, old friend." Core's eyes widened. "Sloane." "Don't." She fired, not to kill, a stun round. Core collapsed. The rest of the kill team raised their rifles, but Elara was faster. Cerberus calculated. Drones moved. In 0.3 seconds, every kill team member was disarmed and pinned to the walls by antique but ruthlessly precise kinetic rounds. No one died. Elara made sure of that. "I'm not my father," she said, lowering her hand. "He believed in restraint. I believe in consequences." She walked past her mother, past the pinned soldiers, past the barrier. The cadets parted like water. Liara of Andromeda Prime, who had mocked her, was sobbing silently. Elara stopped in front of the observation booth's window. Inside, Grin, Thrax, and Vex stood frozen. "Open the door," she said. It slid open. Grin tried to speak. Nothing came out. "You wanted to see what was in the vault," Elara said. "Now you know, an Earthborn's inheritance, a weapon that doesn't need to fire to win." She looked at each of them. "The core worlds built this academy to mock Earth, to train soldiers who would laugh at the weak origin world. But Earth was never weak. Earth was waiting." She turned to face the entire academy, her voice amplified by Cerberus, echoing through every corridor, every dormitory, every training bay. "The Xylos Syndicate is coming. The core world's fleet is 48 hours away too late. Earth has one defender, me, and Cerberus." She smiled, and it was terrible and beautiful. "Anyone who wants to help is welcome. Anyone who wants to laugh can stay here and pray." Hook, on Earth, in a hidden bunker beneath the ruins of London, a second vault opened. Inside, 300 Cerberus-class war drones, mothballed but not forgotten, and a single message from Elara Venn recorded decades ago. "If you're watching this, Elara, then I was right about you. Now finish what I started. Bring them home." The battle lasted 11 more minutes. Not a single human died. The Syndicate lost 47 ships to friendly fire and panic. The rest jumped to FTL, scattering across the galaxy like frightened insects. Silence. Then Earth's comm channels exploded, not with panic, with celebration. In the academy, now under new management, Vex, the youngest instructor, had declared loyalty to Elara. The cadets watched the feed and began to cheer. Grin and Thrax sat in their empty control room, staring at the floor. Elara landed the Mockingbird in the ruins of London. Her mother embraced her. Liara saluted, not mockingly, but genuinely. The cadets who had laughed now looked at her with something between awe and shame. She walked to the bunker's entrance. Inside, the holographic ghosts had faded, but one remained, Elara Venn. "Hi, Dad," she whispered. The projection smiled. "Hi, Starlight, you did good." "They laughed," she said. "They always do," he replied, "until they don't." The projection flickered and died. Elara stood in the silence, the silver in her eye pulsing gently. Cerberus spoke in her mind. "What now, Commander?" She turned and looked at the sky, at the stars, at the fleeing Syndicate, at the distant core worlds that had mocked her home. "Now," she said, "we remind them why Earth was never conquered, not by them, not by anyone." She walked out of the bunker. Above, the war drones formed an honor guard. Behind her, her crew followed. And in the Academy's main hall, someone had already replaced the mission statement. Where it once read, "Forging the galaxy's finest soldiers," someone had scrawled in fresh paint, "Never laugh at an Earthborn. We inherit the stars."